Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. We are tonight's entertainment.
The BSN Network proudly presents the W.E.C.P. with your hosts,
Aaron Holiday
and Jerry Flynn, the heels of podcasting.
Just that when he said he's always watched over me, that's not exactly true. I mean, the last time that we were in the ring together, it wasn't as partners, it was as opponents.
That's true, but we're always friends.
Were we? Because I remember you trying to end my career.
Look, everybody likes to win.
You tombstoned me on the floor. Then you tombstoned me on the steps. Then you tombstoned me on the announce table. It wasn't even a match. It wasn't a match.
Let's not go digging up the past, Daniel. We have to concentrate on what unites us.
You tried to abduct my wife?
Tried. Look, Daniel, yes, we've had our differences. But man, I've always had your back.
No, you haven't.
Yes, I have.
No.
Yes.
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 Well, welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to episode 24 of W.E.C.P. I'm Aaron.
I'm Jerry.
And Jerry's calling in today. We've had a busy, crazy couple months, so we haven't been able to physically see each other than last week. We went and saw CSW that we've been promoting for months. Finally got to see it live. I had Nat on the last episode, got to interview him, the promoter of the show. And we'll catch up here. We'll talk about CSW. How you doing, Jerry?
I'm doing well, man. How about you?
Oh, I'm hanging in there.
Yeah?
Yeah, this heat's killing me. Finally got one halfway decent day, but it's still hot.
Well, you enjoy the winter, so I mean.
Yes, built for it.
This is my part of the seasons that I enjoy the best.
Not at all. Not for me. No, can't do it. What is it, 90-something with 80% humidity, so it's 110 out there?
Oh, yeah, it's great.
Yeah,
it's
no,
good stuff.
Not at all. So yeah, let's get into wrestling, all right?
Let's do it, brother.
That's this wrestling, you fuckface!
Okay, so, as you heard on the intro, Team Hell No is back.
Yes.
Crazy that they're back together, because I thought Kane, I don't know his real name. I forget his real name. It's
Glenn Jacobs.
There you go. Didn't he win his election? Or did he win his nomination?
Honestly, man, I thought he got the mayor gig.
Yeah.
So, I don't know. Maybe he's kind of handling both at once. He's still being under contract with WWE and, doing his political thing. But I was under the assumption, and, we could be wrong, but I thought for sure that he did become mayor. So, yeah, I mean, as far as that goes, I don't know, but bringing Team Hell No back was, in my opinion, a pretty good move. It went over with the fans like crazy. I remember when they, I want to say that's what kind of threw Daniel Bryan into this whole yes movement thing, because didn't all that happen when he was, when they were saying no, yes to each other, screaming at it, in their earlier promos, wasn't that the shtick behind the yes movement? Wasn't that the baby of it?
Yeah. It started out as the no movement and then turned into the yes movement.
Right, when he became face, I'm assuming.
Yes. Yeah, I thought he'd be mayor by now, so I don't know how this is happening. It's also pretty good considering how bad the Cass and Daniel Bryan feud was,
Yeah.
I like this. I think it will give Daniel Bryan a new coat of paint, make him more relevant. I know Kane's not overly relevant because he's older and he's been there for so long, but
Right.
I think it's a good move.
Yeah, I mean, you know how Vince is. Whatever gets the fans that nostalgia hit, buy all the merch and the T-shirts again, and so on and so forth. Like creative is gonna like do whatever they can to kind of push, like the new teams that which some work out, some don't. Obviously, as we see, but to bring back the older teams such as Hell No, I think we could put that in that category of being kind of a not so much a vintage team, but a seasoned stable, especially for the two superstars that are in it. Kane being gone for as long as he was, Daniel Bryan being in and out of the business, not really like we didn't know that. Through WWE doctors, okay, he's cleared, but he's not cleared. But outside the WWE, no, he's cleared. He can go back to work. He can go wrestle, whatever. So, I mean, I think for the fans, this is a pretty good treat for all those hardcore Team Hell No fans. And I mean, me myself, like I said, when I saw the team reform again, I was like, it kind of took me by surprise because I wasn't really keeping up with the weekly episodes. So. It was pretty cool. Like I said, just for like a little nostalgia hit because they do work really well together. They're like that team where you would never think two superstars that are completely opposite would make such a great team together. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. Well, I was gonna say they're a lower version of like the Rock and Sock Connection.
Right. Okay. Perfect. That's what I was thinking, yeah. Like, no one thought that would work, but look how that turned out.
Yeah, and you don't have to have a long run with it for it to be important.
Yeah, no, I mean, Rock and Sock Connection was how long?
Yeah, it wasn't that long.
Like, what? Maybe a few months?
Yeah.
Off?
No, it wasn't long. And then they broke it off, and then, Mick Foley's character always trying to bring it back together, but
right.
It is what it is.
Exactly, but what makes it so awesome is that even to this day, when we were kids growing up through the Attitude Era, you went through towards, you were a kid, you were able to catch the Golden Age kind of, making its way out.
Yeah.
But for that to kind of stick with us, that, like the kids nowadays who, when they're our age, they're going to be like, oh, you guys remember Team Hell No? Like, Kane and Daniel Bryan, these guys are done doing whatever they're doing. So, yeah, in my opinion, really good move for WWE to do that.
Now, we didn't talk about it on the show, but I think we talked about it when we saw each other at CSW, was Big Cass getting let go.
Yeah, all right. So I still don't know why that happened.
They haven't really said anything, and they didn't give him one of those deals. You know how they give you one of those deals where, like, there's a possibility we could bring you back for a future, and like they call it a future endeavors deal.
Right.
Like, oh, we'll bring you back probably in the future. Nothing.
Right. Yeah. I don't know if he had heat with somebody backstage and Vince couldn't get along. I mean, is it a total loss? I don't think so. I mean, I know you were a fan of Enzo and Cass, but I think it's like one of those things where Cass needed an Enzo character to kind of put him over. You know what I'm saying? Because
Totally.
Yeah. Because when he went solo, man. I mean, Enzo was doing his thing as a heel, making all of us, like bragging, like, "Oh, I'm the best, I'm the best, I'm the best," and it stuck because people got so fed up with him after so long, and Cass just was there.
Well, Cass didn't do much, and then he got hurt and was out for so long.
Yeah. And
by the time he came back, Enzo's out of the company, so nothing that he left with is still there to build on.
Exactly, and I see all their merch now is 90% off on WWE Shop.
I might have to go buy some.
Yeah, I mean, those pops that you have are $4 now.
Are they?
So, yeah. Yeah.
Well,
so they're really trying to push them out.
Well, I mean, I was going to say that. I have the Funko Pops. I thought they were a good tag team, but they never won a tag titles.
Yeah.
And the other thing is, out of the, like, especially they had Carmella, because she dated Cass, and she was part of that, like, package when they were in NXT.
Right.
To think that out of the three of those individuals, the only one that had a long run with it, well, has won a title, had gotten a good push, and is still in the company, is Carmella.
Right, yeah. I never thought in a million years that would have been the way things were going. I honestly thought, like, when I first saw Enzo, I'm like, oh my god, this dude, he's so good on the microphone, like, there's no way they're gonna let him go, and there's no way they're gonna not have him in the spotlight. But, you know, eat my own words, because sadly it happened to both of them. You know, giving Daniel Bryan those squash matches with Big Cass at, like, how many pay-per-views in a row? 3, I think. And, like, the build-up to those matches were not even that good either. So, but Carmella's she's been holding it down, man. I mean, she's really been, like, it's believable when, you know, when she's like that heel champion that, you know, that us fans we love to hate so much. So she's definitely doing her job as far as the being women's champ is concerned. So.
Yeah, and the other thing I never really realized was she's a second-generation wrestler.
I never knew that.
Yeah, her dad was Paul Van Dale. And
Paul Van Dale.
Yeah, I don't know him very well, but he apparently was a wrestler back in, like, I think it was before the Attitude Era. So I'm not.
At least make a Hasbro of him.
Oh no! I don't even know what his shtick was. Yeah, he was Paul Van Dale. He was just a wrestler. I guess he was like your stereotypical, like, jobber guy.
Okay.
From, like, a lot of the videos of him are him wrestling the Big Boss Man when the Big Boss Man was still in, like, the old school cop outfit. So he was an 80s wrestler. He was during the...
Wow.
Yeah, so she comes from pedigree, which is different from Cass and Enzo. Enzo was a college Division III football player.
Right.
And wanted to be a rapper, and then you had Cass, that was a Division II basketball player or something like that. Like,
yep.
They didn't make it as athletes, and then tried wrestling.
Yeah, I mean, and you know what? For their credit, they made it to the big leagues. It just kind of their whole thing just kind of simmered off. But I know Enzo is putting out, like, music videos, and he's like a rapper now. Awful. Yeah, I can't. I sat through. What does he have out? Like 2 or 3 videos. I watched them both, man, and let me tell you, it is just ear piercing.
Yeah, it's not good.
No, and there's gonna be people out there like, oh, looking guys, you know, whatever. Like, Enzo's doing what he's doing. I'm not knocking the guy. I'm happy that he's finding another outlet to entertain people, but
yeah.
Holy hell.
Yeah. So we'll segue that into kind of with Carmella. Yep. James Ellsworth.
Yeah.
We got to see him. I think you went up and talked to him. You got to meet him at CSW, correct?
Yes. Me and Dave had a 15-minute conversation with him. And he's actually a really nice guy. I remember telling you, like, I'm like, I don't know, Aaron. He just doesn't look like he likes talking to people. And you know, me and Dave went up there, gave him our business card, and he was telling us that he's like, wow, he goes, you know, you guys are the first people, you know, to come up to me and say, you know, hey, why are you still doing the indies when you're back in WWE? And he kind of just was saying how, like, he's on a contract with WWE where he doesn't know if it's, like, good for a month, good for only, you know, I guess they call it a pay-per-view season from whatever pay-per-view he was on. So, what was it, Money in the Bank?
Yep. To
Extreme Rules. He doesn't know if that's where the contract ends. But he was pretty confident in saying that. He's like, oh, I know they're going to get rid of me again. He goes, I mean, this isn't, because when they brought me in, and again, his words, not mine, but he said when they brought me in, they made it very clear as to what they were going to use me for and how long they're going to use me, because apparently his first contract was only supposed to go that one match where Braun Strowman beat the crap out of him, and he did his, any man with fighting hands has a chance, whatever, or any man with two hands has a fighting chance.
Yeah.
And he pretty much said, like, yeah, people like the T-shirt, they like the whole thing with AJ Styles. He's like, AJ Styles is the one that kind of, when he put me over, I was in shock because that wasn't Creative's, like, that wasn't their plan to have him lose to AJ 3 times.
Or AJ to lose to him.
AJ to lose to him, right. So, he goes, I mean, honestly, it's just, right place, right time. The fans liked it. The whole no chin music finisher. I mean, it was cool, and it was also like kind of a crazy thing to hear coming from a guy who's still employed with them. He's kind of like counting the days as to where he's going to get that call, and they're going to be like, yeah, man, we don't have really anything much left for you to do, but we'll keep you in touch in case anything goes down, because the only thing that's going to work for him is doing things with Carmella.
Well, yeah.
I mean, I just can't see him.
The only other thing that could work is if they wanted to postpone for another year Braun Strowman's title run.
Yeah.
You put him with Braun Strowman, James Ellsworth, and have them do a tag team like a Team Hell No, and just let them go and do a tag run, and then split him off, and then he gets thrown out of the WWE again.
Right, he gets the boot.
Literally.
I mean, yeah, literally. I could see. I mean, yeah, I could absolutely see that. I mean, a lot of fans like seeing the small guys with the bigger guys. I mean, Jericho did it with Big Show. I thought that was awesome.
Yeah, they were a great tag team.
I mean, yeah, I think that's a pretty good idea. But I just don't know. I mean,
right now he's doing the whole thing with Asuka, which people are making fun of it and saying it's shitty. I'm like, he's doing exactly what they ask him to do. He doesn't complain, and I think that's why his first contract went so long, was because every time they asked him to do something, he's like, yeah, no problem, and just went out there and did it. Whether he agreed with it or not, he's just like, they pay me, I go out and do it. Like, and I'm not getting, he's not getting thrown in the ring with like squash matches every week with like the Ultimate Warrior where he would hurt people. You know what I mean? He goes out there and he's working with Braun Strowman. Hopefully Braun Strowman took care of him in the match. He doesn't say anything bad about him. And then the other guys, like obviously AJ's not going to hurt him. Dean Ambrose isn't going to hurt him. Neither is Carmella. Neither are a lot of the women and the wrestlers. Like they all get that they're there, and he's very gracious. Like you said, he seems like in all the interviews I've listened to him, he's just happy to be there, and he knew his time was up at some point, and he was just going to ride it until it cooled off.
Yeah, I mean, and going back to the AJ thing, like AJ even saved his life when he went to do the. Wow, I can't think of AJ's finisher.
The Style Clash.
Thank you, the Styles Clash, where as he was going down, Ellsworth picked his head up, and AJ saw it last minute, and he planted his foot. I don't know if you saw that clip.
No.
Yeah, like Ellsworth, like he had him. He goes, and I remember AJ saying like it was going so well until I felt like he said he felt Ellsworth moving, and when I looked down, he had his head straight up, like looking like if you were to look down your chest. And he goes, had I land that, he goes, I would have broke his neck like right in half.
Oh,
so
geez.
yeah, I mean it's and going back to what you said, like he's not. I don't consider Ellsworth a yes man. I consider him a passionate employee for what he loves to do, and that's wrestling. Clearly, he's made a name for himself. I mean, he's got people who coming up to him and always want to take a picture and want an autograph. It's like he had a steady amount of people talking to him for a good portion of the night. You know?
Oh yeah. You got to hang out and talk to your boy Gangrel.
Yeah, the Gangrel.
He always seems like a good guy.
Yeah, he's super nice, man. Like, he even remembered doing
The promo?
The promo for the channel, so that was awesome. I'm like, yeah, remember we were at F&J Collectibles in Newington? He's like, oh, yeah. He goes, yeah, you're the podcast guy. I'm like, yeah. So, that was pretty cool. My fiance absolutely loves him now because he actually was talking to her almost kind of like in a flirtatious way, which is totally cool because it's Gangrel. And there's really nothing I could do about it because, it's Gangrel. But, yeah, she's like, he showed me a couple of clips here. She's like, I wasn't really a wrestling fan until, we started dating and he got me into it, and he showed me a few of your old matches, and it's funny because he was like, oh, man, I'm sorry. So, it's funny because it's almost like he knows that, he was very underutilized in his time, during the Attitude Era.
Yeah, no, he was.
But the guy's humble. He understands the business. He knows that, and when I talked to him back in the wintertime when I met him, I was able to talk to him for, we had almost a 2-hour conversation, and he was saying that Vince was very adamant on not doing vampire characters. He's like, it's just Vince's thing was, to me, he goes, if I'm a fan, I'm just not going to believe that a vampire could be a wrestler. And Vince Russo said to Vince that, he goes, but this is a fantasy though. He goes, you can't have people believe a guy walks around who presumes himself to be the dead man, and cast lightning out of the sky inside of an arena and not have the arena catch fire and blow up, because he goes, all he's doing is just, it's like one of those cult things, because the Blade movie was huge during that time.
Well,
so
I was gonna say, also, I remember listening to, I think it was something to wrestle with Bruce Pritchard. He talked about how they had a conversation when they kind of brought up, Gangrel. They basically were like, yeah, like they said, Vince wasn't into it, didn't understand it. Vampires don't sell. But then there was a big piece on the news, the local news, about a group of kids thinking they were vampires.
yeah,
And then reading up about how there was a national fad about vampires. Around the same time as Interview with a Vampire and stuff like that was popular.
Mm-hmm.
So he just was like, well, we'll give it a shot. And then when they started to see it going, and then obviously, the brood and the music and the entrance and the spitting of the blood, it was a package deal that people still love.
Oh, yeah. I mean, it scared the crap out of me when I was a kid, especially when the lights came on and he had, the blood still dripping off his face, and, David Heath, who is Gangrel, had, again, I'm not, staring into the guy's eyes like that, but he had, these blue eyes.
Piercing
that
eyes.
More terrifying.
They pierced into your soul when you would stare into them. Yeah.
It's kind of like when people used to watch Papa Shango.
Yeah.
And then he's like, oh my God, he made the Ultimate Warrior throw up everywhere and gave him the super pain and whatever. But okay, yeah, Warrior sold it good, but it's still scary as shit that you have someone who does voodoo, and he can do this to somebody with just rolling his eyes and shaking his head. You know what I'm saying? So, Gangrel, is a really nice guy. I noticed he liked our the picture that that you posted on our Instagram account.
Yeah.
He let me and my fiance take a picture with him after his match. He was walking around, and he's always saying, he's like, I'm all about the fans. He's like, I never thought my character had such an impact on people where they would still remember me, with it being 2018. And he's like, and I get every day people say, "Oh my God, I used to watch you when you was a kid. I had all your figures and blah 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 blah." So I mean, that's cool. I mean, to him, and like I said, he's a very humble person. Like he knows he didn't have a good run. I mean, but as kids, we didn't care because he looked awesome. He had a great entrance. The blood splatter was perfect. I mean, he even did it at the CSW show, which is great.
Yeah, he always does it when he comes out.
Yeah. Another thing too, when he goes to shows, he says if someone brings the puffy white shirt that he used to wear, he says he will wear that during the match, sign it, and give it back to the person who brought it, all for free.
So I guess we're doing that next time.
Yes, because
I just need to know his size. That's the key.
I'm going to assume he's a hard 2X. I'm just going to assume that, but
yeah. A tight fit 2X.
A tight fit 2X, but he's like, because he posted a picture that day of him wearing the outfit, and I was like, oh my God, I can't believe he's going old school tonight. Like, holy shit. And then when I was talking to him before the show, I was like, dude, I saw your picture. I can't believe you're going to wear the old shirt. He goes, oh man, no. He goes, I posted that today, but I meant to post that last night before the show. He goes, a fan gave that shirt to me because they were like, they dressed up as me coming in, and the guy said, listen, he goes, I want you to wear this shirt while I wrestle, or while you wrestle. And Gangrel said, yeah, that's fine. And then now it's like becoming a thing now. If people bring that shirt, he'll wear it during the match. And he's like, and I asked him, and I go, well, I didn't know where the hell you even get a shirt like that. And he's like, oh man, he goes, Hot Topic was on my budget list for when he was in the WWE because they were the only store at the time that was selling those kinds of T-shirts.
Yeah.
He's like, yeah, and he goes, they're freaking expensive, man. He goes, I remember when they wanted to they drew out the costume that they wanted me to wear, with like the gauntlet boots and the electrical taped up wrists and stuff like that. What they had me coming out in was just a wife beater, and I'm looking at it going like, this doesn't really, like, they're just gonna think I'm just some guy who just has fangs in. But because that movie that you mentioned, Interview with a Vampire, that was the clothing that they wore. So it makes, and he said it made perfect sense. He goes, I went out and bought like so many of them, and he goes, and as the years went on, I just, I sold them off. He's like, after Luna died and the house fire, half the shirts that I had were in that house, and those all burnt up because the material is practically like, it's like wearing air.
Yeah, it's much flammable.
Right, yeah. So he's like, I only had like one left, and it ripped during a match. So I just kind of switched to the black vest thing, the purple, like the dark purple vest.
Yeah.
But I can't wait. Hopefully, Nat will do another show soon. That show is phenomenal to me. We watched JT Dunn wrestle
and Matt Cross.
That match was unfriggin' believable.
Yeah.
I could not believe that I witnessed that, and the fact that we were that close to the ring to watch it, it was just mind-blowing, man. It was phenomenal.
Yeah. Did Dave ever post his photo?
No, I don't know why.
I haven't seen it. I posted mine.
I still gotta post mine. I'm not gonna lie. I gotta post mine.
With Matt Cross is what we're talking about. Dave took his shirt off because he thought Matt Cross had his shirt off. He needed to have his shirt off. And
Dave tried to one-up him.
Yeah, and Matt Cross definitely looked at him sideways and then said, all right, let's do this. Took the photo, and we all kind of laughed and looked at Dave, and okay.
All right, well,
yeah.
that just happened.
Yeah, no, my girlfriend totally said to me, wow, look at Matt, or look at him, I was like, yeah, that's Matt Cross. She goes, yeah. And I'm like, what the shit? And she's like, he's a good looking guy. Look at the, he's in great shape. I'm like, no shit, he's in great shape. You know, I was
it's
like,
Matt freaking Cross.
I was like, well, just stay over here. Don't talk to him.
Yeah, go. We'll sit in the bleachers. All right,
Yeah.
I'll be over there soon.
But yeah, no, and then her niece came with her father. My girlfriend's brother-in-law came, and he had never heard of Buff Dad or Two Buff, and he had never heard of Matt Cross or JT Dunn because he's kind of a really, really old school fan, and he's also got like 10 years on me, so he's definitely a fan of the 80s and early 90s, not the Attitude Era.
Right.
Even though he's a huge Bret Hart fan, he fell out of wrestling when, the Attitude Era and the screw job and all that. So he wasn't really a part of that. He never really watched it. So he knew who Gangrel was and kind of knew his thing. He really liked him. He thought Ellsworth was funny. He thought Matt Cross and JT Dunn was unreal.
Yeah.
That was the show. That was the match when he was asking me about it. I was like, "That's the one we're gonna like. That's the one the promoters pushing. That's the one I'm like super excited about." And it didn't let down. Like it was definitely amazing.
Dude, these guys push the limits. They, and what I love too. I was looking in the crowd and I was watching Nat sitting in the crowd. Which is one thing I love too. The guy who runs the show was actually in the crowd sitting with the fans as a fan. You know what I'm saying?
Oh yeah, that's what he is. I mean,
right. But you could see it in his face. During all the matches he was very proud of, because he put on one hell of a show. And just the JT Dunn Matt Cross match, you could see it on his face like, holy crap, I can't believe I got these guys here. This is unreal. Like, that match was, 5-star for me. Absolutely, an absolute 5-star match for me.
yeah, no, I loved it. The only thing that's sad to me is I was talking to our buddy John about it afterwards, and he was like, I was like, what do you think about like him ever making his jump to, well, JT Dunn's 20, he's 28, and he's from Cranston, Rhode Island. I didn't realize that.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, so he's a local guy. But I was going to say Matt Cross, he's 37.
Yeah.
So more than likely we'll never see him in the WWE.
Which is sad, but...
But you know what, though? Like, what would he be? Would he be Eric Young, where he's in, part of Sanity and just start...
man.
You know what I mean?
That's a really tough call, especially... Matt Cross can definitely hold his own. He's proven that time and time again in different companies, being different characters. Lucha Underground, Son of Havoc. I don't know if he does go to NXT. Given the fact that how old he is, I don't think he'll branch out of NXT if he does go.
Yeah.
And I don't think they'll put a gimmick on him. I think they'll keep him as Matt Cross.
Yeah.
But that's where it stops. It doesn't go anywhere but there. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, the only thing I could see them doing is if they were going to really bring him in and they were going to really utilize him.
Right, yeah.
Put him on 205 Live. Don't even waste your time keeping him in NXT.
Right,
just put him right on there.
It's going to happen to Ricochet sooner or later.
Yeah, which is crazy. That he's in NXT. I understand why some guys go to NXT, not because Ricochet can't wrestle, it's because always the knock on Ricochet is that he's a great wrestler, but can he talk?
Right.
So he's developing that. I'm not saying he can't, but I'm just saying there's some guys that they need it. And I also think at 205 Live, you don't really need storyline. Just let them wrestle.
Yeah, just let them go. You don't need a feud or any of that bullshit. Just put them in the ring, let them do what they do best, and that's entertain the crowds, high flying, all these flippies and all that crap. Just do that. I don't know how good. Have you ever heard Matt Cross do a promo?
He's been when he was Son of Havoc on whatchamacallit, on
Lucha Underground.
Lucha Underground. He did a couple things, but it's not Not a lot. It's just him kind of like basically just calling people out and this and that. Like, he's a heel. Let him go out there, talk shit, and then come out and fight him.
Right.
It's a very simple concept. It's old.
But it works, though.
Oh, very much so.
Yeah.
But, summing up CSW, it was insane. Like, insanely fun. I had a good time. We met some new wrestlers that we hadn't met before. Obviously, Matt Cross, JT Dunn. You were a little bummed you didn't get to see JT Dunn before the show. Did you see him after the show, or did he take off quick?
Dude, I didn't see him before the show, and I didn't see him after the show.
I feel like he must have drove himself from Providence and just, like, came in, did the show, got out.
Yeah, and you stayed until, what, midnight, you said?
Midnight, yeah, and I saw everybody leave. I saw Matt Cross leaving. I didn't see JT Dunn.
So he must have just kind of skated out of there.
Yeah, I don't think he wanted... Not saying he didn't want to talk to people, but I think maybe he was just in a hurry to get somewhere.
Yeah, I mean, I'm sure he's booked up everywhere, so...
On to his next gig.
That's it, man. You know, that's the life of the wrestler, always on the road. Young Bucks say it all the time. He goes... They're always like, you know, we got a day off, 2 days off, now we're heading back to Tokyo, we're going to Germany, yada, yada. Ugh.
Yeah.
Busy lifestyle, very busy lifestyle.
Oh, yeah. All right, so we have Extreme Rules coming up.
Yes, sir.
Have you gotten a chance to look at the card yet or not?
I don't know the card fully.
But you know some of the matches.
Yeah, some of the matches. What I'm going to do is I'm going to have you, if you don't mind, just kind of...
Yeah. I have them down.
Perfect.
All right, so Finn Balor versus Baron Corbin. We haven't talked about it. Baron Corbin cut his fucking hair.
Finally, dude.
He looks ridiculous, though.
He looks so stupid.
Yeah, not good. Not good.
Not good. He doesn't look good with long hair, and he looks even worse with no hair.
No, see, here's the thing. I think if he had just gotten plugs and gone away for a little while, gotten a hair treatment, and came back with some hair on the front, he'd look fine.
Yeah, but now what is he, like a Stephanie McMahon's personal assistant or whatever?
I guess he doesn't look horrible with no hair, but he did. You know who he looks like to me? And once he took his mask off, it totally fucked me on thinking him as a tough guy. Corey from Slipknot.
Oh shit!
That's what he looks like. Like,
holy, you're right.
Have you seen Corey from Slipknot? Like, he doesn't look tough at all. But when he used to have the mask on and
it's like a whole. It's like an illusion.
Yeah, and he doesn't have it anymore.
And you want to know what's crazy about that? Baron Corbin and Corey Taylor had a feud while he was in NXT.
No, yeah, that's right.
Corey Taylor, remember he slapped the shit out of him at one of the shows?
Yeah.
So
stealing his look.
Wow, that's weird that you say that. Like, now that I'm thinking about it, damn, I can never look at Corey Taylor the same now.
I'm telling you. So you're going to think of Baron Corbin now.
Oh, gross.
Yeah. Who do you think... Who do you...
Full head of hair, though.
Yeah. I mean, it's true.
Where Baron is struggling
to hold on to any hair that he has.
Yeah, this dude has nothing. But get back to the match.
Finn wins. I'm
gonna say Finn wins, but do you know what match type it is? By any chance?
No, not a lot is out there right now. I think it's because it's next week. This week they'll be like, "All right, here's the stipulations."
Yeah, and if you don't like it, we got 2 minutes for you.
Exactly.
I'm gonna say Finn's gonna go over. I can't see them being like, "Oh, well, Baron, you're gonna take Finn out." Like, I can't see that.
No, and I don't think they need to keep that feud going.
Unless they screw Finn, like, you know, because of this whole new character he's got going on. I don't know if he has like an authority type, you know, iron fist to rule with or whatever.
Yeah, he's like, you ever watched anything or read any of the stories of Robin Hood? And there's Robin Hood, and then the guy that he always fights. I forgot who it is because I don't know why my head keeps going to Robin Hood Men in Tights, so I can't remember what the guy's name is. But there's always that guy that's like the constable You know.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. He's not the guy. He's not the king. He's not in charge. He's not Stephanie McMahon, Triple H. He's the guy that. Yeah, he's a lackey. He's kind of like the Stooges for Vince McMahon, like back in the day when he had Pat Patterson and Gerald Briscoe as his like Stooges.
Now, not to get off subject, but speaking of Gerald Briscoe,
yeah,
are the Briscoe brothers in Ring of Honor related to him at all?
No, I don't think so.
Okay, it's just a coincidence.
I think I think they kind of probably were one of those deals where they were trying to make a name and they were like, that sounds really good.
Okay, all right. So getting back to the WWE, like the Baron is like this. He's like Stephanie's yes man, which totally takes away the illusion of him being the lone wolf because he's like now he's kind of a hypocrite.
Yeah. Yeah.
Because you go off saying, like, I don't need a tag team partner, I don't need anybody to win championships. Clearly, you need a whole new gimmick change because the other one you had just wasn't working. And which brings me to my next question. Is he wearing the same gear he was, like, when he had the long hair? Because when he had the long hair, the gear made... And I know this is going to sound weird, but the long hair made the gear make sense. Now, with the short hair, or I should say the shaved head, he's going to look awkward.
Yeah, no, I don't think he's going to use the same exact gear. I think his gear is going to become a little bit more traditional.
Like a suit? Like a suit?
Well, he's been wearing, like, dress clothes to the ring. He's not been wearing his wrestling gear much. So I think they might do kind of like, I don't think it's going to be like, best way to describe it is he'll have a gear similar to like Dolph Ziggler. He'll probably just wear the like traditional tight trunks.
Yeah.
And then boots, and that's it. Like, I don't think he's gonna wear the the pants that are all patchwork, and then maybe he'll still wear the cutoff shirt, but I think it'll be probably not. He probably won't wear the cutoff anymore.
Yeah, the patchwork pants seems to be like the thing now in wrestling.
Yeah, I think he needs to get away from that.
I think a lot of people need to get away from that. Honestly, like.
Well, yeah.
But I'm going with Finn on this. It just doesn't seem realistic to me to have Baron go over Finn Balor, who is the bigger draw. But if they want to build up the heel persona of whatever Baron's trying to do, I feel like that's the route they would go, just to kind of, put Baron over, make him relevant for a couple more months, get this whole like, Stephanie's ambassador, whatever he is, gimmick going. That could be my only reasoning to why I would choose Baron Corbin over Finn Balor. But other than that, I don't see Finn taking the loss to Baron Corbin at all.
Yeah. So Roman Reigns,
okay,
versus Bobby Lashley. So,
oh boy,
yeah,
okay,
I think it could be a halfway decent match.
Oh no, I totally agree with you. The question is who's coming out? Who's coming out on top in this one?
I think it ends in a DQ.
Yeah.
And I think somebody does a run-in on the match.
Maybe Dean makes a return?
Maybe,
no,
but... No. If he's going to run in on anything, he would run in on the IC title match, I think.
Yeah, that's true.
But,
yeah, I mean...
I don't know. I think Lashley needs the win.
He needs the win. It's just a matter of they gonna give it to him. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. Or
I want Bobby Lashley to win. I want him to beat Roman, but who knows? Especially when it comes to Roman.
Yeah, just don't tell Pooja.
No, I won't tell her. Even though we're gonna watch it, and she's gonna probably hit me again.
Yeah. No, yeah. I think. To be honest with you, I think it's either DQ or Roman goes over because the whole thing going on with Brock right now. So, yeah. I think either Roman wins or Bobby but they DQ finish. Nobody wins.
So Bobby Lashley doesn't get a clean win.
I don't think. I don't think he will.
Okay. Yeah, that makes more sense.
So Jeff Hardy.
Okay.
versus Shinsuke Nakamura for the U.S. title. I think this could be the match of the night.
Oh, it most certainly will be.
I think it can be. I think there's the next match after this. I'll tell you after. I think could be the match of the night too, because it's been really good. It's just they've already done it. But I think this could be a great match.
Yeah, I mean they both have very unique styles of wrestling that they do.
Yep.
And Jeff obviously being a little slower now, with age and stuff like that. Which, by the way, Jeff Hardy always looks sore. You ever get that when you see him wrestle?
Well, because I think he is always hurt. Yeah,
like the pain, like the expressions this guy gives on his face is like something like after our 2-a-days in football. You know what I'm saying? I'm gonna take. Oh man, I don't know. I'm gonna say Jeff is gonna retain.
So, I think Shinsuke wins.
Okay.
And I think something will... I'll explain something later on, but I think there's a reason why Shinsuke wins.
Okay.
Because based upon the... if you go and watch Jeff's promo before his open title match that he had on SmackDown...
Yep.
Against... I think he wrestled The Miz.
Okay.
And he won. Jeff Hardy won. So I think if it goes the way I think it might, I think Shinsuke's going to win and Jeff Hardy's going to have something happen later on in the show.
Okay.
So the next match, Dolph Ziggler versus Seth Rollins for the IC title. This is the other match that could be match of the night because they've already had a really good match on Raw. Raw.
So I'm gonna say, and Dolph is the champ, right?
Yes.
Yeah, he's definitely gonna retain the belt.
I think they want this to keep going.
Yeah, they're gonna build this up to be, because they both are really good at selling moves. Dolph more than Seth. I mean that's clearly evident. If you have ever seen a Dolph Ziggler match.
Yep.
I think Dolph is gonna. Yeah, I'm agree with you. Dolph will take the title, and then they're gonna keep this as like a blood feud against each other.
Well, see, I think also Dolph has Drew McIntyre.
Oh, I forgot about that. Yeah.
Right, it's Drew McIntyre that comes out with him, or not Drew Is it Drew McIntyre?
It is. Yep.
Yeah.
It is.
So I think he still has him as like, DQ finish.
Right.
And keeps the feud going, like I said.
Yeah, and then right, exactly. They're gonna stir the pot with this storyline.
Yep.
So yeah, I mean, like, who are you taking for this match?
I was gonna say Dolph.
Yeah, it's believable.
It keeps it going. I think it makes sense for them to keep it going.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, whatever keeps Seth Rollins hungry and keeps him, making great promos and.
Yeah.
Seth is. You never got to worry about Seth Rollins. I mean, he's 100% for the business, and he's always good at everything that he does. I've always been a fan of his. So I agree with what you're saying with this match.
Yeah. So the next match, the Raw Tag Team titles, the Deleters of Worlds.
Oh yeah.
Versus the B team, which is Curtis Axel and Bo Dallas. So Deleters of Worlds, obviously, your boy Bray Wyatt and Matt Hardy, Woken Matt Hardy.
Yeah, I'm going with Deleters of Worlds.
I am, but I also feel like this match could turn into one of those like, okay, Jeff Hardy lost his title. The promo he did on SmackDown, he uses a lot of the old lingo that Matt Hardy uses.
Okay.
This match turns into him going in, and, well, I also feel like Matt Hardy will go too far on Bo Dallas.
Yep.
And then that's when Bray Wyatt snaps on Matt.
Okay.
Breaks up that tag team. Jeff runs out. Now you have the Wyatt family. But actual family, you have Bray Wyatt and Bo Dallas. And Curtis Axel can be like the third member of the Wyatt family again. And then you have the Hardy Boys, but it's the Woken Hardy Boys.
So you're saying Jeff becomes Brother Nero?
Yes.
Aaron, that sounds so good. It sounds so good that WWE probably won't do that.
No, but I feel like that's a possibility here, because like it's that weird. I don't know, like, and then that could be the WrestleMania match.
Oh yeah, I mean, don't get me wrong. That'll be. I would love to see that. I think that would be tremendous. The fact of the matter is, though, you know, as you well know, more than anybody, we never get what we want.
No, and I don't even think it's much as me like armchair booking. It's like, no, I think this could make sense for the simple fact that Bray Wyatt's gotten a little bit of a boost from being with Woken Matt Hardy, but it's also not his gimmick.
Yeah, like, it's weird seeing him do, like, the whole Wonderful thing.
Yeah.
I saw it live when me and Pooja went. You know, like, they mixed their song together and stuff like that, which, I mean, like, you have darkness and lightness, whatever.
Yeah.
I was always under the assumption that, you know, the whole broken gimmick, or woken, whatever you want to call it, was more of like a potential heel turn that just ended up being the fans love it so much that no matter what you do, we're not booing you because we love that that you snapped, you know?
Yeah.
I mean, but Bray Wyatt pretty much changing, you know, his whole character around just to kind of fit the Woken mold is a little disheartening to me, because I do miss the old like cult leader thing that he used to do, you know, way back in the day, and that just kind of fell off, and then he fell off big time.
See, this is the other reason why, because you got Bo Dallas. Bo Dallas was kind of like a televangelist. Bo leave.
Right.
Bo Wyatt. Bo leave.
Okay.
I'm thinking it's coming. I'm thinking it's coming down the pipe.
Hey, well, you know what, man? Next weekend, you know, when we're watching it,
if it happens,
man, if this happens, then you 100% work for WWE, and then my assumptions will come true.
Yeah, I wish so. Like, the only thing is, I just don't understand how they got the B team to have a tag title match.
Yeah, I don't know.
That's what I'm saying. Like, and for the crazy convenience of Bo Dallas being on the same car, wrestling in the same match, it's a possibility. Or Bo Dallas and Curtis Axel have a falling out.
Yep.
And that's when, you know, Bray Wyatt goes to the rescue of his brother, and then Matt asks him what's going on, and then that, once again, me just throwing more shit out there and hoping it sticks. But there's a possibility of that happening.
Yeah, I mean, if it does happen, I'd be happy with that.
And then that could be your WrestleMania match. It could be the Hardys, the Woken Hardys versus obviously the Wyatt family, or you could even change it to the Dallas family. I don't know, whatever the hell. Sounds a little bit. Yeah, it could work.
Dallas family.
Yeah. Okay, so then the SmackDown titles. You have the Bludgeon Brothers versus Team Hell No.
Okay.
This ends in disqualification. The Usos do a run-in. It's a three-way at SummerSlam.
I could see that happening.
That's what's going to happen, because they already did a run-in on them. And then possibility, if the Usos do a run-in, then oh no, that was different. Yeah, so it's probably the Usos are going to do a run-in. And this will end up being a three-way title match at SummerSlam.
Hey, man, I'm down for that. I know Bludgeon Brothers have been... Luke Harper and Eric Rowan have gotten a huge push.
Yep.
With this whole new thing they got going on. So yeah, I mean, I agree. I feel I want to say the Usos are going to come in and kind of just shake the cage up a little bit.
I think it could work, and then because you have the New Day, I was going to say the New Day would get involved too, but they're actually having a feud right now with Sanity.
Oh yeah, that's right.
Sanity, I guess the I was watching it. The frickin' New Day were doing a pancake eating competition on Tuesday.
Yeah.
And the Sanity broke it up, which I thank them very much for.
Yeah, I thank the company for letting Sanity up on the main card.
They're finally using.
Yeah, finally.
So how do you think this match turns out, though?
I mean,
like I said, I think it ends in DQ and goes to a 3-way at SummerSlam.
Yeah, because they could turn this. They could bring back. Let's say if it goes to 3-way for SummerSlam, they could bring back the 3-way ladder match.
True.
Remember how they had that at the WrestleMania with Dudley Boyz, Hardys, and Edge and Christian?
Mm-hmm. And I think the first time they did it was at a SummerSlam.
Right, exactly. So think about it, right? You have the disqualification go on Sunday, and then you build it up all the way up until the triple threat just to settle, okay, this is the match, a triple threat ladder match. After this, it's whoever wins it, it's done. And with those three teams, especially Harper and Rowan, like the brutes, like throwing people off ladders and tossing ladders at everybody, like doing these crazy spots, that match could be insane.
Yep.
Like that match could be absolutely brutal. So I'm gonna go with the DQ route with you. I'm gonna go with you on that.
Yeah, the first one was at 2000 SummerSlam. So 18 years later, they have redo the TLC match.
Yeah, and that'd be perfect.
Yep. I like that. That might turn into something really cool.
Absolutely, and you know people will be all for it.
Oh yeah.
You know, anytime you get a ladder match, especially with three teams, you know, I mean, what more could you ask for? There's going to be so much carnage in the ring, man. The fans are like, we're not going to know what to do with ourselves. You know what I'm saying?
Oh yeah.
So I'm gonna go with that. I'm gonna side with you on that one.
So Carmella versus Asuka, SmackDown Women's title. Obviously, Carmella still has the title. She has Ellsworth in her corner. Yeah, I think Carmella wins based on Ellsworth distraction, and then Asuka puts him in the hospital or something, and then we don't see him for a while.
Yeah, I mean, the whole mystery behind Asuka was kind of died out, given with her first loss.
Yeah.
So I can't really. I want her to win. Don't get me wrong, but I think the thing that makes more sense is kind of have Carmella retain with the James Ellsworth distraction. So
you agree as well?
Yeah, I mean, yeah. This has been the first. I just want to point out this has been one of the few pay-per-view cards that you and me actually agree on with these matches.
Yep.
Which is crazy because usually we're at each other's throats with it.
Yeah. No, usually I'm I'm gonna pick the opposite of what he's picking.
Yeah, and then you end up being right, and I'm like, son of a bitch.
No, I think we're usually 50-50 both. We usually, by the end of the show, I'm like, God damn it, I got this wrong and that wrong. And you're like, yeah, I got this right and that wrong. And kind of evens itself out.
We totally blew the WrestleMania card when Asuka and Charlotte Flair.
Yeah, I did.
We were hell-bent, and we swore up and down for months that Asuka was not going to lose that match.
Nope.
And she ended up freaking tapping.
Yep, I didn't like that. Yeah, I didn't like that.
Our WrestleMania episode, I remember we both flew off the handle. I remember driving, to the studio, to meet you, and then the whole ride just kind of being like, God damn it, I can't believe she freaking lost. This is
insane.
I can't wait to tear WWE a new asshole on this podcast.
No, yeah. So then we have the other women's title. the champion, Alexa Bliss, versus Nia Jax.
Yeah. There's no way Nia's going to get that belt.
I don't think so, and I think there's a high possibility Ronda does a run-in.
Yeah, she's suspended, right?
Yep. But she's gonna be in the crowd. They've made sure to point out that she'll be in the crowd. She'll be in attendance.
Oh, well then that's the giveaway right there.
Yep.
Yeah, so you pretty much called the match.
Yeah. Alexa wins by some reason, or it just ends in a DQ.
Yeah, or unless Alexa Bliss does a clean win, and Ronda jumps her after the match.
Possibility.
Or they could go the route where Ronda distracts Alexa, and Nia gets the run on her and does her thing, and she becomes the champ again. I mean, I feel like there's the three ways that match could go. You know what I'm saying? Or it could go where she doesn't do anything and she literally just watches the match, which would be a waste, but
it's a possibility too.
Yeah, I mean, what do we know, right?
No, I know nothing.
Right.
So, and I guess the match is probably going to be the main event. AJ being the WWE champ versus Rusev.
Yeah, I'm going with AJ.
Yeah, me too.
Yeah.
I think this could have been match of the night, but I also feel like there's going to be something going on here, and it's not going to be a great match. I think AJ is going to look good. I think Rusev could try hard. I just don't know what's going to happen.
You know what it is too, man, that I noticed? It's like their styles of wrestling just don't match.
No, but I would say that's kind of like...
Does that make sense?
Yes and no, because I think Rusev has a very similar style to a lot of the brooding guys that you would see in Japan, where AJ did well. It's just, I think Vince and the company want a certain style wrestled in their ring and would never allow them to wrestle the style they're supposed to.
Yeah, right. So it's almost like they're shackled.
Yes. Hamstringed.
Well, I don't know. Don't get me wrong. I like the whole new day thing. Wow, I'll be right. I like the whole Rusev Day.
Yeah.
Shtick. That was supposedly a joke that turned into a phenomenon in the WWE world.
Which I don't think the WWE really liked initially, but now they've come to grips with.
I remember we read that article when Vince was like, "Yeah, I was not planning on this.
Yeah.
For this to be as good as it was."
No, he wasn't a fan.
But hey, at the end of the day, it still went over. They still sold a ton of merch. I don't know, man. I mean, if Aiden English, if anything does happen, okay, like Aiden English bum rushes the ring.
You know who he's married to, right?
Yeah, Eddie Guerrero's daughter.
Yeah.
Yeah, I know. It's insane. So I don't want to keep doing like a DQ finish for all these matches, but the way the card is lined up, it just seems to me that this is the route that everyone's kind of going with.
Yep.
Just for this pay-per-view, because they're so, and you know what it is too? It's like you have these extra people at ringside for half the matches. You know what I'm saying? You got James Ellsworth, you have Rusev who's with Aiden English, you have that tag match where the Usos come in and kind of screw everything up. It just seems to be a very DQ heavy pay-per-view on a pay-per-view that's supposed to be nothing but no DQs. You know what I'm saying? So
yeah, I think that's the only thing that I might be wrong on, but I thought the women's for the Raw between Alexa Bliss and Nia, I think that's the only one that I've heard that's confirmed no DQ. So there's a possibility you still get Alexa Bliss winning by a distraction of Ronda. Ronda do a run-in, attack Alexa, but distracting the ref trying to get her out of there, even though there's no DQ finish. And then, Alexa Bliss does something to Nia and then still wins.
Yeah. I just don't like the fact that it's called Extreme Rules and it's not Extreme Rules.
Yeah, I just
can't get past that.
Yeah.
Like,
there's a lady on the, I want to say a lady. She's probably about my age, but there's a lady on the indie scene that gets blood a lot, gets color a lot on the indie scene, and it doesn't look good. Now, if it's an accident, it makes sense to me. Like if a girl gets cut and it just split, you get a little split, split your forehead, whatever. That happens, or you get a little nick on your hand, or your little nick on your head, or whatever. Get it. But when they really try to go bloody, especially with women, it's very hard to watch.
Yeah, right. And I know you have like a thing about that, like seeing that, because you don't like seeing people get hurt, like legit like that, So,
I mean, if New Day got hurt,
well, that's a whole other story.
Yeah, if Xavier Woods ends up out of the ring for the next 6 months, and it doesn't affect his quality of life, he just can't wrestle, I'm not hurt by that.
Aaron, you're like, all right, I'm on board with this.
Yes, totally.
I haven't got to see Xavier Woods for a long ass time.
Be amazing.
But yeah, man, I don't know. I mean, it just,
and obviously, no Brock.
Yeah, so what's up with this?
He's getting a fight. He's gonna fight Daniel Cormier for the heavyweight title.
What's gonna happen with the Universal title?
I think he's gonna have to drop it at SummerSlam.
Is there a championship qualification match?
I have no clue.
This is what I don't get about the WWE, because you're building up this part-time champion who's supposed to be this beast, whatever, and yet you're booking him once a month.
Yep. Dude, this is why I said back in the day that if you were going to have anybody beat The Undertaker at WrestleMania, it had to be someone that was going to be here for the next 5 to 10 years.
Right.
Not the guy that's going to be here for the next 5 years, but technically wrestle the next year. You know what I mean? Right. Like, he hasn't wrestled that much. I don't know. I don't know.
I don't know either, and it doesn't make sense to me. Like at first, when Brock came back, years ago, it's like, oh, cool, he F5'd John Cena in the ring. Yeah, it's great, it's cool. And it was also cool, he's wearing his UFC gear in the ring, and now it's like that SummerSlam match where he did all those suplexes to him. That was straight. Now it's, I don't know, man. I don't get it. It's just like, dude's beating a dead horse here.
Yep. I don't know. I don't know, man. Like, Daniel Cormier just knocked out the heavyweight champion of the UFC. I think his name's what? Stefan Struve? Stipe Miocic. There you go. Stefan Struve's an older fighter.
Yeah, he's that really tall, Norwegian dude or French dude, whatever.
Yeah. Sorry, I got it mixed up.
He loses all his matches.
Yeah. I got it mixed up. Sorry. Stipe Miocic, but he's legit, and he had a 7-inch reach advantage on Daniel Cormier. Daniel Cormier beat him.
But he knocked him out in the first round, right?
Yeah.
Oh shit.
Yeah, and I think that's the thing though. Daniel Cormier is the light heavyweight champ and the heavyweight champ.
Is he really?
Yeah, he wears the light heavyweight title around his waist while he's holding the heavyweight title above his head.
Wow.
Second guy to ever do it.
Holy crap.
Yeah. Well, you got what's the first guy to do it was what's his name? Oh my God.
Is it Conor?
Yeah, Conor McGregor.
Jeez, everyone's doubling up on titles. Jesus Christ.
But here's the thing. I think Daniel Cormier almost wanted to retire, and now he's two-time champ.
Yeah, so now it's
and the only reason why, and not to not say this, but I also think it's bullshit anyway, is that the only reason why he's the light heavyweight champ is because John Jones beat him, but then tested positive.
Oh, dude, absolutely.
I don't disprove. That doesn't make me go, Daniel Cormier is a shitbag fighter. He doesn't deserve the title. No. Daniel Cormier is actually a good person. Had to wait how long for John Jones to get his shit together, and then John Jones still tested positive for shit. The guy wanted to retire after the fight because he was like, if I can't beat this guy, like, what am I doing? And then you find out every time he loses to the guy's doing some sort of fucking drug. So
I know that. Yeah, I remember, watching an interview with DC, and he was saying, like, he goes, I'm just so disappointed in him because John Jones is. He pretty much said John Jones is legit, man. Like, this dude can fight. Like, there's just no two ways around it.
Yeah. Well, they were saying
caught up in him.
the first fight they wanted to do with Brock coming back to the UFC was him versus John Jones, and then John Jones tested positive. So they're like, all right, well, we can't have two guys that have both tested positive here. Because that's the other thing. Brock Lesnar is still on, he still has 6 months left on his suspension.
Oh, does he?
Yeah.
Oh, okay, that makes sense.
Yeah. So he can't fight right now. He's on suspension.
Well, Jesus Christ, Brock, what are you doing?
Yep. Do you think we'll ever see? We'll keep it wrestling related. Did you hear about CM Punk's last fight?
Yeah, I actually watched it.
Did you? How was it? You know me. I'm not going to watch anything that has to do with him.
No, totally understandable. So he went the distance, man. He went all 3 rounds.
That's what I heard.
He looked really goofy, and he was doing these maneuvers in the ring, and all you see is Dana White in the background, looking at his face like, oh my god, I wish that I did not put this on a card because this fight is just embarrassing. Yeah. Plus, on top of that, I don't know. I forgot the guy that he was fighting. I forgot his name. Dana fired him as well, and because his facial expressions during the sorry, those are my dogs barking in the background. His facial expressions during the fight were kind of like, this dude ain't shit. Like, he's a nobody. He's a has-been. He washed up. Like that usual thing. Dana said him and Punk are still friends, but as far as a fighting future goes, it's just not going to happen. At least for the UFC. But CM Punk is so adamant on fighting. He told Dana that, listen, I'll go fight for Bellator. I'm like, dude, give it up, man. Like, your professional record, you're 0-2. Like, and another thing people say, like, oh, well, hasn't had any. Like, the guy he needed amateur fights. Like, don't just throw him on the biggest stage and think he's gonna just come out of it. You know what I'm saying?
Oh yeah.
So it's as far as a CM Punk thing goes for UFC, I'm over it. I'm done with it. Like, he had his time. He failed both times. Time to move on. I don't know what he's going to be doing. I would like to see him go back to Ring of Honor, honestly. Kind of bring back that fire that he once had. It's very, very much so confirmed that he'll never step foot in a WWE ring forever. So as far as that goes, it's just not a good scene for CM Punk. I think CM Punk is done as far as the fighting, fighting and entertainment goes. But we both knew that though. I remember us talking about him going into the UFC, and I remember you saying that there's just no way this dude's going to survive.
No, I didn't think he was ever going to do anything. And then you look at the first guy he fought. The first guy he fought was a legit fighter.
Yeah, and the second guy he fought too did like this. He took this fight as like a quote unquote redemption from like a past record or something he had, or I guess he had a losing record too, and now that he has like a win, now he's like, well, now I'm back on it, and I'm gonna beat CM Punk and regain everything that I once lost. At the end of the day, dude, you still got fired because you pissed off the boss. So to speak.
Oh yeah.
So I don't know, man. I mean, it just. I know the Bullet Club's All-In pay-per-view, which I might order on pay-per-view. I'm still thinking about it. It's in, the one that's in Chicago.
Yeah, how much is that?
I think it's like only like 40, 35, 40 bucks.
And how are they doing it? Is it like streaming or is it like? No,
it's legit pay-per-view.
Okay.
Yeah, so it's like you could call like Comcast or not. Well, I'm dating myself. I guess now you could just hit it with the push of a button.
Yeah, no, we used to call them.
Yeah, I'm dating myself to like SummerSlam 2002, where my dad was on the phone for like almost 6 hours with Comcast trying to get the pay-per-view.
Yeah.
That was a great day. He definitely wasn't pissed at all.
Yeah, no, he doesn't hate wrestling at all.
Right.
Are you not entertained? Are you not entertained? Is this not why you are here?
But yeah, so just to talk quick, just like about movies and shit, man, dude, I went and saw Incredilbes 2.
Tell me everything about it.
Well, I'm not going to tell you everything about it. I just think it might actually be better than the first one.
Damn. The first one's great.
Yeah, and what's crazy is that movie, the first Incredibles movie, doesn't get enough credit when it comes to superheroes.
Right.
Because I think that it was done before all the Marvel movies.
Oh, yeah, man. I was still in... God, I wasn't even in high school yet, I think, when Incredibles 1 came out. Or maybe I was. I know it was before 2008. I know that.
It was 2004.
I was a freshman in high school.
Yep.
So 4 years before the MCU was even on the big screen.
Yep. So think about it. All those kids, little kids, that were in that theater watching that in 2004, by the time 2008 rolled around, they were 4 years older. They could watch Iron Man.
Right, exactly.
You know what I mean? So, and they kind of make fun of like capes and shit in the first movie. So, like, I think it's just doesn't get enough credit.
Oh, is that where they said his cape got caught in like the airplane engine or whatever?
Yep.
Was that the joke?
Yes. Yeah.
Okay.
Yep. And no, but it was really good. Obviously, Jack's amazing, and
now he has every power. Is that his thing?
No, he doesn't have every power. He just has a lot of powers.
Okay.
I think by the end of the movie, I think you're at somewhere like 8 or 10.
Holy crap.
Yeah, but like none of them are like his dad. Like he's not his dad. He's not, super strong or whatever. He has like all these other crazy powers. He's not like he doesn't have the same powers as his family. He has different powers, but he's got 8 or 10 different powers than them.
Okay.
Yeah.
Now, I do have one question.
Yes.
Lay it on me good. Was Frozone awesome?
I thought he was good. I think this movie showed a little bit more of him than like the first one kind of shows him popping up here and there. I think it still kind of popped up when he needed to be, but I think he was more involved, I feel like, in this movie. So if you were a big fan of Samuel L. Jackson's version of Frozone, you're gonna like it.
Good, because him and the dad are my favorite characters.
Yeah, it's weird to see who plays who in real life, like to see the people that do the voices.
Yeah, so who voiced? I don't know. I don't know the name of the dad. I don't even know his superhero name.
All right, so he's Mr. Incredible.
Oh, duh. Okay.
Yeah. And he, the guy that plays him was the guy that was, remember the TV show Coach?
I do.
The football coach that, like, he coached at the University of Minnesota and stuff like that. And then he also was the grandfather in Parenthood? Parenthood, I think it is. That TV show. Did you ever watch that with, like, Dax Shepard and I think it's Parenthood. Hold on.
I haven't watched that show now.
Yeah, Parenthood was the name of the show. He was the he was the grandfather in the show. He was actually really good in the show.
Do you have the actor's name by any chance?
Oh, son of a bitch.
Sorry, Aaron.
No. I should have fucking said who he was, but hold on. It's Craig T. Nelson.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. And then Holly Hunter is Elastigirl.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Yeah. Holly Hunter, Elastigirl, I should say. Definitely, they made her. This is the big thing: is a lot of professional athletes were like tweeting about her because they would take their kids to go see the movie, and then they would tweet that, like, you know, how they want to, like, date Elastigirl because she has such a big ass in the movie.
Yeah.
So it was just kind of funny to watch them, like, acknowledge it in the like people acknowledging, you know, ooh, look at her.
Right. I mean, she like the way Disney, like, or I should say, well, Disney Pixar. You know, you ever notice how with the female characters they like to accentuate certain areas?
Oh yeah.
You know, like I watched the movie Coco.
Yeah.
I love that movie. That movie literally brought me to tears. Like, that's how, like, great this movie is. And the way they do, you know, like all the female characters, like it's just, you know, the big round eyes and the super slim waists, and they look like an old sand clock. What are they called?
Hourglass.
Hourglass. There it is.
Yeah.
They get like these hourglass bodies and stuff like that, and it's like Disney he knew what he was doing.
Yeah, well, I mean, it's also changed a lot. I think they just understand that that's kind of what people like to look at now. And then also it's just, like you were saying, Coco, like, I love that movie. I think that's the other thing that bothers me is that's getting a lot of credit, which is great. But I don't understand how Frozen got as much credit as it did. I get it. It's a two sisters loving each other kind of movie. I get that part of it. But the rest of it, as it being like this cultural phenomenon, it's this greatest Disney movie. This might be one of the best Disney. No, not even in my top 5.
What's that? Incredibles?
No, Frozen.
Oh, Frozen?
Yeah, I don't like it.
I didn't like that movie either. And for someone to, like, compare and be like, oh, this is the greatest thing since Lion King. Listen,
then they didn't watch Toy Story.
Yeah. The Lion King is its own caliber, okay? You can't just be like the best thing since Lion King. Number one, Lion King's not even Pixar, alright? Let's just get that straight. Number 2...
Did you see the trailer for the live action for that?
I thought, yeah, now, was that legit?
I don't know. I know they're making legitimately a live action Dumbo.
Yes, my fiance loves Dumbo. But see, here's the thing, though. Are you going to go see it, Aaron? Because...
No. Not unless my godchildren ask me to take them. Otherwise, I will not be going.
Yeah, but what's his name is directing it. What the hell is that guy's name? He did the Batman movie, the '89 Batman movie.
Oh, Tim Burton?
Tim Burton.
Yeah, I'm definitely not going to see it now.
Even if they do want to go, be like, you know what? I'm not going.
No. Nope. I'll buy it for you on DVD when it comes out and you can watch it at home. I won't go watch it with you. No, I just... Yeah, I don't know what to think. Did you see the trailer for Creed 2?
I did.
Did you like the ending? The last quick, 2 seconds of the trailer?
Yeah, with Drago turning around and seeing his name on the.
Yeah.
Dude,
The son of Drago.
Yep.
So, how do you see that going?
Well, okay, so so what is it like? Is Ivan Drago's going to be in the new movie?
Yeah.
And he's training his son, right?
Yeah.
And so, is he like? The question is, now anyone who's ever seen Rocky, like Rocky 4, you remember Ivan Drago's training schedule with the steroids?
Yeah.
Yeah. So I mean, I know, I'm trying to make a joke out of it. Like, is this what Ivan is going to do?
Well, that's the thing. Do you see Creed taking it Adonis taking him out in the parking lot after he beats his son and then beats him to death or beats him from within an inch of his life? Or do you think he runs into him at the press conference and gets into a fight with him? Or
yeah, here's what I think is going to happen. I think they're going to do a anniversary of Apollo Creed, and obviously now that Rocky's still alive, Adonis is clearly his kid. I think they're going to do a memorial celebration, to remember Apollo, and Drago's going to be there in the crowd. I think him and Rocky are going to do a confrontation, and then Drago's going to say something or refer to his son, and he's going to turn, and his son's going to walk up, that side ramp thing, how they do the press conference like that.
Mm-hmm.
And then they're going to be okay, well, they're going to talk shit, and I'm going to avenge my father, motherfucker, and that's, even though Rocky did that, but that's how I think it's going to go. I mean, it could just go completely not the way I just said, and I could be completely wrong.
But
that makes sense, right? Because if you think about it, they're celebrating the life of Apollo Creed, and yet you should have that setup where Ivan is there with his kid and do a confrontation with Apollo's kid, with Rocky being there, and I'm sure Rocky will, because we all know Rocky doesn't talk shit, right? We all know that.
Yeah.
The worst thing he's called somebody is a bum. You know what I'm saying? Filthy bum. Oh my god, my heart. So that's what I want to see. I want to see Ivan and Rocky do kind of a face to face, but I also want to see Adonis and Ivan's kid do a face to face too. I just don't know Ivan's son's name.
No, nobody does yet. Do you think? Do you think we'll find out because this is coming out Thanksgiving, right? I think so.
So do you think as the trailers come out, we'll get to know more about Ivan's kid, or do you think they should keep Ivan's kid kind of like a mystery?
I think they should keep all that a mystery.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Don't don't give too much of it away. You know what I'm saying?
Not at all.
Because now when we go see the movie, it's gonna be one of those things where it's oh, what the hell? I feel like I know everything about him. Like that movie Warrior, they pretty much did the whole movie in the trailer.
Yeah.
It's you knew that the brothers were fighting at the end. You know what I'm saying? So you knew that before even going into the movie.
Now, do you think it's going to be... Do you think Rocky... You know what I mean? They go to have a fight, and Rocky starts thinking that, he didn't throw in the towel for his... for Apollo... So he goes to throw in the towel and has a heart attack on the side of the ring, and then they have to postpone. They have to postpone the fight, and then Rocky dies, and then Clubber Lang comes back to train him so he can beat Drago's kid.
Oh, dude, damn that! I don't know, man, but you kind of just brought a tear to my eye when you said Rocky has a heart attack and dies because we know that's how Mickey went out.
That's what I mean. Like total Mickey style, just dies.
Oh man, I don't know, bro.
Because that's totally plays into how Sylvester Stallone likes to do stuff.
Right. I mean, and remember when Rocky Balboa came out, and at the end of the movie when he's talking to Adrian, and then he disappears. Like
Yeah.
Yeah. I thought that was that was symbolizing Rocky dying. That's what I took it at that. So when Creed came out, I'm like, oh shit, Rocky's alive. All right, I didn't know.
Well, yeah, but that's only because Sylvester Stallone didn't write the movie.
Right, I'm sure it would have went a whole different, just not another street fight.
No, he just didn't see the Adonis aspect of the story, and just wasn't writing it. That guy wrote it and asked him if he could do it, and then he was like, if he wanted to be in it, and because obviously Stallone owns all the rights to Rocky, so they had to get his permission. But I think as soon as he got permission, started reading it and seeing what it was, he was like, yeah, this is great, I'm gonna do this. And then he's like, I'm gonna do another one. And so that's why he's taking care of this new one.
Well, so how many Creeds are they making though? So this is the next question, because depending on how many films are going to be made in this franchise, the Rocky dying storyline may not make sense unless you do have Rocky. So okay, let's say they make this a trilogy, right?
Yeah.
You have Rocky die in this movie.
Yep.
And who would take over for part 3? Or does Adonis, does he know enough, after training with him for all these years, so far, does he know enough now to kind of take on his training by himself? You know what I'm saying? So
Clubber Lang, Mr. T.
You are dying to see Mr. T come back as Clubber Lang.
I just want him to say, I pity the fool.
you were dying for that. I still have, I want to go back and watch all the Rocky movies. I have them on Blu-ray. I want to go back in and rewatch those. I remember we used to talk about that movie all the time.
Yeah. And then, now here's the other thing. Do they go creepy and crazy and just be like, whatever, one of Apollo, what's his name has a kid. I'm trying to think how they could try to hornswoggle it into having Clubber Lang's kid be somebody else's kid as well. You know what I mean? Being
oh, okay, yeah, I see what you're saying.
Him being it can't be obviously Adrian's kid. She really did take him up on it, but they'd have to find somebody that he had a kid with or whatever that's local or something like that. But I think that's who they could bring in for the next one.
So what you're saying is for the third movie, you would want to see Clubber's kid?
Yeah.
But think about this though, and I love that idea. I would be so down for that. But what about Rocky's real kid?
Well, that's what I was gonna say. His real son.
Well, he's dead. But what I'm saying,
No. But didn't they bring a guy to play his son in the Balboa movie?
Yeah, and he was a suit, but remember, this is a whole different universe now, so you could take it, you could, switch that up a tad,
Well, yeah, they could just make it out to be this is, Rocky's kid after, Rocky died, he quit being a lawyer or whatever and started bulking up, and now he's fighting. He always trained, but he never bulked up to be a professional fighter.
Right, because Rocky was never a heel, so you can make his kid be kind of a dickhead.
Yeah, no, you could have him just be that real. No, you could have it be the second Rocky movie where you don't hate Apollo. Apollo just needs to beat him because he wants to prove he's the best. Same thing with whatchamacallits, with Adonis, him wanting to prove that he's the best. And then Rocky's kid comes out and wants to fight him, and, you know, he's the underdog like Rocky was.
Right.
We're writing a movie that's never going to happen.
I know, right? It should, though. I feel like we have some pretty good ideas.
Yeah, no, we just gotta have to make our own movies.
That's it, man. We'll spend the money on a camera. We'll go out there and start filming shit without permits, get arrested.
Yeah.
We'll go full G.G. Allen on everybody.
There you go. Yeah, no. I don't plan on shitting in my hand. Not doing that.
What a great guy, huh?
Yeah, that's tough, man. I watched his documentary. It's rough.
I watched it too.
It's rough.
Yeah.
To say the least. But yeah, no. So anyway, kind of finish up here. You've been kind of taking a back seat on the figure aspect of it, of going and buying figures and stuff like that, because you're looking to up your bank account a little bit. I just picked up the Young Bucks 2-pack, Funko 2-pack today.
Yes, you did. I'm very jealous of you.
Yeah, went in there, politely, declined help because I thought it would be like at eye level. Proceeded to go over to where the Funko Pops were, and it was on the very top shelf, like 20 feet in the air. So I had.
So now you had to swallow your pride.
Yeah, I had to go back and ask the girl for help, and then she proceeded to like ignore me, and then I was like, no, seriously, like I do need help. I need something. I'm sorry to say this, but it is on the top shelf. And she's like, she wouldn't say anything to me, and then finally one of the other girls is like, yeah, I'll help you. And then she looks at me and she goes, I'm not wearing pants, because she was in a dress, and I was like, oh, sorry, whatever. I wasn't trying to look up her skirt. Like, I don't care. Like, I don't really give a shit. I'm so out of it half the time anyway when it comes to, like, life. Like, my mind's so far somewhere else that I'm not thinking about that. Like, my mind's thinking about the Funko Pop on the top shelf, not your skirt.
Right, exactly. But here's my thing, right? Why are you wearing a skirt in a place where you might have to go up high?
Or if you do, just wear leggings.
Or something, yeah, but, like...
Unless she's wearing some very revealing underwear, or none. But,
or nothing at all.
Yeah, that's what I mean. Like, I'm not looking, one. Two, I get it. Like, okay, my bad. Like, not my bad, but, like, sorry that I bothered you.
Didn't mean to... Right, yeah.
You also are the person that asked me on my way in the door if I needed help, so...
Right, so technically...
Yeah. And then I also picked up I pre-ordered it, and it came in on Friday, the Shawn Michaels GameStop exclusive Retro Fest figure.
¿Qué pasa?
Do you know what I'm talking about?
I have no idea what you're talking about.
No, this is the one that looks like he's in the Rockers outfit, and it looks like he's in a old school video game.
Son of a bitch! I didn't even know that was a thing.
Yeah, no, I showed it to you. Remember?
Did you?
Yes, I did. He's in the Rockers outfit. We talked about it on the show, like how cool it looked.
You're right. Okay, you're right.
And how they were gonna make. They made a Macho Man, they made a Shawn Michaels, and then they're gonna make a Honky Tonk Man.
That's right. Okay.
Yeah.
Now, how much is that like for retail?
I think they're 25 or 28 or something like that.
Damn, that's cool, man. So did it meet your expectations when you held it?
Yeah, I think I liked it a lot. I want to get the. What's weird is I don't want the Macho Man, not because I don't like it. It's just. And I'm not saying it because I'm non-patriotic. It's just very patriotic, and I don't remember a lot of that version of Macho Man when I was watching as a kid.
Okay.
It was more pastel colors, and then when he went to, obviously, WCW, it was pastel, and then it went to, like, just black and red, and...
My memories of Macho Man were the Macho Madness character.
Yeah.
So...
Yeah, you remember
I like
WCW version of him.
Yeah, I mean, because, yeah. I was just a wee lad.
Yeah, but I think it's awesome. I'm pretty excited about it to add it to my collection. I'm gonna have to look through your collection when you if you ever if it ever hits my price range, I'll have to add those to my collection.
Aaron, you're one of my best friends. You're my co-host. Of course, I'm going to give you a deal. Okay.
I know, but I also need the money too. So
I'll be sure to shave off at least like 50 cents for you. I mean,
there we go.
That's like the most I can do.
Yeah. But yeah. So that's kind of what I've gotten recently, and I've kind of slowly been boxing up all my stuff because I'm getting ready to move. But we'll see. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I mean.
And with Toys R Us going out, I
don't know.
I don't know where the hell I'm gonna go to get a lot of my stuff. Like right, I mean, Walmart has it, but they usually suck. And Target they don't replenish. No. That's the thing that's sad. They don't. They're not good. And all the Walgreens around me, they're all like 4 or 5 series behind. So I don't know.
I'm telling you, Toys R Us going out of business it killed the collecting world.
Well, hands-on collecting.
Well, yeah. I don't mean like yeah. But I haven't been collecting anything, so not recently.
Yeah.
Because we're also getting a house, and houses are a lot of money in Connecticut.
Oh, yes, they are.
So, yeah.
But yeah, that's so...
Well... Other than that, man.
Yeah. It was good talking to you, Jerry.
You too, man. Can't wait. Hopefully, we'll try and pump these episodes out as much as we can for all you guys. It's just hard. It's just hard with, because you're up to your head and, up to your neck in paperwork for a house. We're filling out our thing for a house that we found. It's rough,
Oh, yeah.
But we're not giving up on the channel. That's the most important thing.
No.
The channel will always be here. The BSN Network will always be here. So all of our listeners just got to bear with us for a little bit.
Yeah, just so much life stuff that, like, we don't make any money doing this. So when you have to, lack of a better word, pinch pennies, it's like, okay, can I make the trip this week? Oh, well, we got this going on, got to do that, got to do this. Your fiance has a kid, so it's like everybody's got a lot going on.
Right, and the beauty of, modern time is that we can do these, phone call episodes,
Yeah.
So it works out for us, it works out for the listeners, it works out for everyone.
Yeah, totally.
But that being said, Aaron, great conversation.
Yeah, man. Well, I'll talk to you soon. I'll hit you up sometime this week.
All right, and then we have to also finish, not to keep the episode running for so long, part 2 of Glow came out.
Oh, that's right. Shit, we'll do that next episode. We'll do a review.
Yeah, so we'll do a review on that. We got to, I don't know if you finished it or not.
Oh, yeah, no, I finished it. Like, you told me you started it. I started it, yes. I came home that night, started the first 3 episodes, and then the next day, I think I watched to the halfway point, and then by Thursday, I was done with the whole series.
See, that's a dedicated fan right there.
I would do it all in one sitting. I just never had the time.
Right, yeah, and that's where my problem comes into me. So, with that being said, can't wait for the next episode, Aaron. We have our kind of a nostalgia hit for us too, because our first episode was actually Glow.
Yeah.
Season 1.
Yeah.
So now, episode 25?
It'd be 25 episodes. We're back to doing it again.
Glow Part 2.
Yeah, man. All right.
All right, man. Appreciate it.
All right, man. I'll talk to you.
Okay.
All right, bye.